Hello there. In this video we're going to look at how we can use variables when prototyping in Figma. So looking at my Figma file, I've created a basic design for a add to cart element. So we've got the image, we've got the make and model, and we've got like the plus and the minus buttons for the add to cart to increase or decrease the number of items you have in your basket. There's an image credit down here for the picture that I've taken from Pexels. So instead of creating multiple frames and increasing this number, I just want to use one frame and use local variables to increase or decrease this number here. So if I want to add more to my basket or add less. So this is how we do that. So I'm going to click off of any frames onto the background and I'm going to go to local variables. At the moment I've got no variables here, so I'm going to create a variable and it's going to be a number variable. I'm going to call it item value and I'm going to give it the value of 1, which is what we have there, and I'm just going to rename my collection to basket. Okay, now we close that. So now that variable's set, I'm going to go into the design, select the number 1, and I'm going to go into my layers panel here on the right. As you can see, there's an icon here, apply variable. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to select the variable I've just created, which is item value, and now you can see that's attached the variable to this element, so that's great. So now we've set that variable up, I'm going to go into prototype mode. I'm going to go and highlight the plus component and I'm going to go up here on the right hand side, click on the plus and add an interaction. So on click I want to set a variable. The variable I want to set is item value. So now it's asking me to write an expression. So the expression that I want to write is item value, and then it starts to give you the different options that you have. So I've got addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So what I want to do is I want to addition, so increase by 1 every time I click the plus icon. Let's close this down. That's set now. Let's go into previewing the prototype. So here we go. So at the moment when I click on the plus icon, as you can see, that number is just going to forever increase because every time you click it, it's going to add 1 to the value. So that's really good. We're not having to use multiple screens to create this prototype, we're just staying on one screen and we've just added a variable to do this. So now let's add something to the minus. So let's go over here, let's click on the minus and let's go interaction, so click on the plus. So on click, I want to set a variable. I'm going to use the same variable again, item value, and the expression I want to write is item value space, and I want to subtract minus 1, and we're going to click into here. That's now set. If I go into prototype mode again, so we can go up, so we're increasing the value, and now we can decrease the value as well. But as you can see, it's allowing me to go into the minus, which is not what we want for this prototype, because usually when you get to 0 it would stop or it would remove itself from the basket. So let's close down the prototype and let's add something to the minus component now. Let's bring up the interaction. So on click we want to set the variable and minus to 1, but I want to set another action. So if I click on plus, I'm going to set a conditional. So the conditional is item value, and now we get some different options here because we're doing a conditional. So if it's greater than 0, so if the item value is greater than 0, I want it to, let me just copy and paste and drag that down. So if the item value is greater than 0, I then want it to carry out the item value minus 1. So let's close that again and let's go into prototype. We can increase the value, or as we decrease, it now stops at 0. So as we've set the conditional, it will no longer go below the 0 value. So hopefully that makes sense. I would encourage you to pause, rewind, and have a look at the conditional that I've set and have a play around with it yourself. But it's a very, very basic variable that I've set up, and it's really, really useful, and it reduces the amount of screens that you need to do now when prototyping. So everything can be prototyped now using variables on pretty much on one screen. So that's it for this video. Hopefully that gives you some basics on variables and how to use them when prototyping. Hopefully in future videos I can dive in a bit deeper and we can set up some more complex variables and play around with them when prototyping. So as always, like and subscribe, add some comments, and I will see you in the next video.